Hi, this is your host Swapnil Bhartia and welcome to TFR Insight, a show where we deep dive into cloud-native technologies. And today we have with us Zachary Smith, Managing Director of Equinix Metal. Zach, it's great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me, Swapnil.
And congratulations, it's been, I think, almost a year since Equinix acquired Packet. So what I want to know from you is how has been this year for both Packet community and Equinix? Talk about the expansion, the growth.
Well, I tell you, what a year. I mean, it's hard to believe that 1 year ago today, I was getting ready to close on this acquisition by the world's largest data center business, a company I've admired for over 20 years in this industry. And then we went straight down into a COVID lockdown that I thought would last for, maybe a month or two. And it's turned out to be my entire life here at Equinix. But it's been an incredible ride. I mean, first and foremost, we've worked to build throughout Equinix's global footprint. If you don't know anything about Equinix, we operate in 62 markets and over 220 data centers around the world. So there's a really, really big platform with over 10,000 customers. So just trying to get up to that scale has been a big portion of what we've done this year, taking what was effectively a pretty small startup, 120 people, 130 people. We've, more than doubled our team. And then we've worked to deploy ourselves across 18 of those 62 markets. And that's been a big portion of what we've worked on this year. We also changed our name. So back in October, we fully integrated, our selling motion and related as an Equinix product line. And we launched what's called Equinix Metal. So that was a culmination of about 6 months worth of work. And it's been quite a ride since then.
What I've seen and noticed is that partners are really important to Equinix. So let's talk about the importance of partners like Pure Storage, Cohesity, and Dell EMC, not only for Equinix Metal users, but also for your own customers.
Yeah, Equinix by our lineage and our business model is a neutral operator of infrastructure. We don't just operate data centers. What really happens in our business is that we connect our partners. So we have what's called an interconnection product via Equinix Fabric that has, thousands and thousands of clouds and other enterprises that interconnect with each other and create more digital business, more opportunity, more agility. And so our business model is actually founded in being neutral. That's really important as even Equinix Metal came to market as a fundamental infrastructure product. How can we enable partners so that our enterprise customers, our service provider customers, et cetera, can get access to the best of breed technology that they're looking for or the opinion that they're trying to create while having us accelerate them through operating it. So very excited to announce, a partnership that we've struck with Pure Storage, which is one of the leaders in, a storage right now for high performance as well as object and related. And what we heard from users is that they want technologies like Pure Storage, but they want it operated across Equinix's global footprint. So we're now able to bring a Pure Storage as a service within the Equinix Metal platform and give customers a single pane of glass and a single throat to choke, as it were, from an operating standpoint.
One more thing is that you have embraced a neutral and open approach to the ecosystem. So talk about the importance of embracing this path.
Like I said, the history of Equinix is based in actually neutrality. Our name means equality, actually. And so it was founded by Jay Adelson to create a neutral place for the internet to live. And so our first real ecosystems were around peering and interconnect for the networks that connect all of our lives via the internet. We then moved on to creating neutrality around financial trading markets, where we have well over 90% of financial transactions go through Equinix data centers today. And we did the same thing in clouds, where you want a neutral place to interconnect with all of your different clouds for a hybrid or multi-cloud world. What I think is so exciting now is that we as Equinix can take that same model, that same business that has benefited and created so much opportunity for both ourselves and our customers, and we can take it to the world of software, because now Equinix Metal is an infrastructure platform with an API. And so now, especially at this time of cloud native and just a huge amount of innovation happening in the world of software, we can provide a neutral substrate for that is open to all parties. And so we've invested heavily in things like the CNCF, the Linux Foundation, and other open communities to allow software to run against our platform without going up the stack. So you won't find Equinix Metal operating a container runtime. We'll work with everybody who is working to build a business around, say, new paradigms like Kubernetes or container native workload, and let them build on top of Equinix Metal as a neutral substrate.
In the last couple of years, we have seen a growing interest in bare metal. Can you talk about what role is bare metal playing in this modern infrastructure and cloud native ecosystem?
Well, we feel that there's a gap between colocation on the left, where you're able to do almost any kind of infrastructure opinion you want, as long as it fits in a 19-inch rack footprint, and cloud, which is really easy and consumable, but has a lot of opinion baked into it, right? From the cloud providers. Both are very, very valid options. What we're doing with Equinix Metal and bare metal in particular is really offering a more automated way to access colocation. So how can you get, opinion around what the hardware is, where it is, who you and how you connect to it with, but still have that same ease of use in terms of agility, developer experience, and whatnot that you might get from cloud. So we feel that it fits kind of right there in the middle between a very controllable infrastructure product, which is kind of DIY called colocation, and a very consumption-based infrastructure product called cloud that doesn't have as much opinion. Now, why does that matter though? What we find is that digital businesses or enterprises that are investing heavily in digital as a strategy, they end up with a lot of opinion around things. They have certain workloads that are very, very critical to their business. You might consider that in industries such as 5G, or in the automotive space that we see, or in big data, where actually doing workload, that kind of digital, I'm going to call it digital economy, is the business. And so when you get there, you end up having a lot of opinion. Now, the hard part is, how can you get that opinion, whether it's related to the specific processor types or the offloads or the machine learning cards that you use, and still get the agility that your developers and your own internal users need, right? And that's where we find bare metal to really give that sweet spot in terms of opinion and control, and yet also agility and automation.
Cloud native is more about how you do things. It's not a thing in itself. So can you talk about bare metal in the cloud native world?
It's a journey, not a destination, right, Swapnil? So I think, what we see happening is that enterprises are by nature hybrid multi-cloud, right? If you go into any large enterprise, and Equinix is focused on helping Global 2000s, what we call digital leaders. That's our target customer. They have incredible amount of challenges and diversity in their businesses. And so what we see is a big transformation, which is how to become more agile with software, how to become more distributed with workload, how to move applications to the right place at the right time. And where we see the investment is in those cultural practices around how to leverage automation, how to have portability, how to do the right thing in the right place with the right partner. And so for Equinix, this is not a this or a that. It's all an and, right? And so what we're trying to do is make sure that as our customers go through that journey, either from a pure cloud native world, looking for more control and maybe some neutrality around certain places as they move between different clouds or whatnot, or enterprises who are moving from maybe an IT-based model into that digital transformation, we want to provide the automated endpoints and platform experience to help them through that continuum.
As we were talking earlier, the interest in bare metal is growing, but what is driving that interest?
Well, I would say two things. First and foremost, as companies have been investing in that concept of portable software, right, through cloud native, then they've become more liberated in terms of how and what they run, right? And so multi-architecture has become standard. Being able to use, applications in a build once, run anywhere. These are just overall benefits that the software world is allowing, bare metal as a fundamental substrate to be more addressable by customers. And then I would say in terms of the edge, we focus on that a lot as the world's largest provider of distributed physical infrastructure, in over 62 markets with all of the right networks. We are actually sitting at the center of that kind of network edge. And so what we see is customers moving their applications further and further. It started with just one or two regions, East and West, and then it went to a couple of different, and now it's very common for our customers to be deploying in 10, 20, 30 regions. Now, once you get into that paradigm, now suddenly you start having to become masters of your application and what to run where and how, right? And then B, you start optimizing for efficiency. And that's really where bare metal can help, which is using the specific offloads that are coming in, say, advanced networking devices, or with certain silicon offloads that are happening, where you can access those directly because you've written portable software that can access the host, versus waiting for maybe a virtual machine layer or whatnot to adopt those offloads, which may take many years in the open source community or through related. So it's a quicker way for customers to get that efficiency and the right kind of tool for the job. And usually it's not for 10 or 20%, faster, or 10 or 20% cheaper. It's for 1,000 times faster or 1,000 times cheaper, right? Machine learning is an excellent example for this, which you can use the wrong tool for inference and end up, having a not compatible experience. So you can use the right tool, and we're in that early part of the Moore's Law cycle with machine learning and offloads, where just an incredible amount of innovation coming out of the silicon world. So that's what we think is driving some of the interest in bare metal, that portability aspect and the access to that cutting edge technology.
You mentioned some, so I want to go a bit deeper and can you talk about some of the advantages of metal? What are the things that customers can easily and comfortably do with metal that they can't do with other cloud and infrastructure provider? If you can also share some examples or some use cases, that would be great.
As I mentioned earlier, I think, our viewpoint is really grounded in the concept of, physical automated co-location, where we see just a huge diversity in enterprise applications. And so by giving a bare metal product that is fully automated, what we're doing here is we're helping customers with two sides of that migration, which is one, accessing performance and location and neutrality benefits from cloud native workloads, because they might be using Kubernetes with a CCM driver so that they want to have auto deploys and cluster management. Well, we support that out of automated metal. But at the same time, you might have an enterprise that's working on moving from an IT-based VMware world and looking how to add DevOps to their tool set. And that's where we can help our customers, right, start to adopt, where they can be using what I'm going to call an IT-based hybrid multi-cloud setup with, say, VMware or Red Hat OpenStack, moving to OpenShift, going from scale up to scale out. But this doesn't have to be a cold turkey, like rewrite all your enterprise applications in order to start to use DevOps, right? It can be a path, which is how we see all of our enterprises kind of going through that adoption cycle. So bare metal really addresses a huge number of use cases. It's actually hard for us to pinpoint all of them because it's so fundamental. What we're really doing is taking anything you can do on a server and then adding DevOps capability to the underlying infrastructure. And so that is just a powerful force, usually in the cultural transformation of companies, but often with application modernization that's going along with it. Everything from hybrid clouds, core workloads, VDI, SD-WAN is a huge workload right now that people are struggling with due to movement of their workers and remote work, or even production applications related to data portability or ingest or analysis.
Zach, thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to talking to you again. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Swapna.